Hey guys, this is Dawson's Designs, and today we are going through the different types of clay for pottery. Now I know there's like a whole dictionary of different types of clay that you can like look online right now, but I'm only going to go through just 3 main categories. Now, of course, when I'm going through one category, there can be like 7 subcategories of clay that I can probably describe in this video, but even if I did, this video would be like 20 minutes long, and I like to keep it short and concise as possible. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first type of clay we're going to be diving into is stoneware. Stoneware is a type of clay that is very broad in the ceramic world, because it's like probably the most common type of clay that they use for a lot of high firing. And when I mean high firing, I mean fired at very high temperatures. Stoneware can be fired like anywhere between from 2000 degrees to 2300 degrees, which is insanely hot. The reason being is because stoneware is a very tough yet durable kind of clay that you can use for a lot of stuff that is for dinnerware or even artware too. Like you can have, 10 pounds of that stoneware clay, you can form it into a really nice sculpture, and yet it'll be very durable for the long run, unlike other clays that we're going to be talking about later in this video. Of course, there's one huge con to using stoneware, is that it is also quite heavy depending on how much of that clay you're using when you're making these pieces. All right, so the next type of clay we're going to be diving into is earthenware. Earthenware clay is more of like the most common type of clay you're probably going to be seeing, mostly because it's very economical. And when I mean economical, I mean as in price. Earthenware is a type of clay that can be normally be fired below 2190 degrees Fahrenheit. Also, basic earthenware, which is often called terracotta, can absorb liquids such as water if it's just bare terracotta. However, I want to put a little bit of a caveat to that though, because earthenware can be impervious to the liquids if you coat it with a ceramic glaze, which can in fact make it waterproof. Of course, there is a con when it comes to different types of clays, and for earthenware, it is really not the most durable type of clay compared to stoneware. Also, earthenware is commonly used for flower pots. As for earthenware dinnerware goes, or earthenware art, I don't really see that as much here. But nonetheless, earthenware is still a great type of clay. I'm not saying that it's bad by any sort of stretch, but you can definitely get away with some better clay like stoneware. There's like a whole broad range of clay bodies for that category. But of course, to each of their own, I guess. And last but not least, porcelain. Porcelain is something that I would like to describe it as the Rolls-Royce of the car world. It's elegant, it's beautiful, it's well made, it's got a great reputation, and it's very expensive. Earthenware is like the Toyota Prius. It's very efficient, very affordable, very economical, but it doesn't really have the fanciest bells and whistles that you would get in a Rolls-Royce, but it can get the job done. And stoneware is like the Ford F-150. It's tough, it's durable, and it's reliable, but it's extremely heavy and quite cumbersome at times. Now, I know what you're going to be saying right now, Dawson, why are you comparing clay bodies with cars? Well, that's a great question. It gives you a better representation on how I can describe different clay bodies as to I'm describing different kinds of cars with different qualities, different designs, different applications. Now let's get back into talking about porcelain, shall we? So, porcelain is a type of ceramic material that is very workable under the pottery wheel, mostly. Slab rolling, I don't know about slab rolling, but wheel throwing, most certainly. Porcelain can be fired anywhere between 2200 to 2600 degrees Fahrenheit. It's very strong, it's very translucent, and of course that depends on how thin you can get the walls to be. And it's quite favored by a lot of artists over the years. However, it comes at a very premium price. The price for a 50-pound bag of porcelain can be anywhere from $37 to $46. Sometimes prices can go up to $50 for a 50-pound bag of clay. So meaning it would literally be $1 per pound of porcelain clay. So now that we've finished talking about the 3 different types of clay used for pottery, I like to throw in a couple that I had been using over the years and just share my information to you viewers out there. First one up is Soldate 60, which has to be probably my most favorite kind of clay to use. The number 60 in Soldate 60 means that there is a 60 mesh sand, which is basically like a much finer grit of sand in the clay. Now there's something called Soldate 30, which is much rougher than Soldate 60, meaning that's like it's more coarser than Soldate 60. And I haven't used Soldate 30 before, but I would have imagined that it probably would be quite unpleasant when you're wheel throwing it. Now, of course, if they came out with something called Soldate 300, then I definitely buy that. But I don't think we reached to that point just yet. So for Soldate 60, I use it for slab rolling. I'll get into one more type of clay that I use for pottery since I'll wrap this video up, is something called B-Mix. Now, B-Mix is the polar opposite of Soldate 60, and that's because it's a lot smoother, it's a lot more workable on the wheel. Now, you can slab roll with B-Mix, but on the same token, I'd rather have that grittiness that the Soldate 60 has when it comes to slab rolling, because you can make the slip out of it, and that slip from that Soldate 60 is like super glue in the ceramic world. And of course, the same can work well with B-Mix, but out of those 2 types of clay bodies, I'd prefer the Soldate 60 for slab rolling and the B-Mix for wheel throwing. All right, that's gonna be it for this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Also follow me on Instagram. I'll put the link in the description down below. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Peace.